Hello you guys, welcome to another of my live videos. Currently going to do another stream, guys, as I just updated you that the news has been confirmed this morning that Jose Mourinho has been officially sacked by Manchester United. As I said, Gary Neville, Graham Souness and a lot of pundits have had a lot to say about the situation of Jose Mourinho getting the sack. Gary Neville says we need to reset our structure, and he also says we need to appoint a manager who's highly experienced, and we need to appoint a manager who meets the club's key principles, and this is what Gary Neville has had to say. But who would you recommend as the right man for Manchester United? We know Pochettino's name's been put up. He could be the favourite to take over. You know, Jardim's been mentioned, Laurent Blanc's been mentioned, Zinedine Zidane's been mentioned, as I said. But I'm very, very happy with this news that Jose Mourinho has been officially sacked by Manchester United. As I said, he's been sacked by United. It confirmed at the training complex this morning, Ed Woodward has got rid of Jose Mourinho at Manchester United. So it confirmed he's left the club. In an immediate thing, he's left the club as Jose Mourinho for Manchester United. During his 2.5-year tenure at the club, won 2 trophies in his first season, got second place last season but finished 19 points behind, and he spent like over £400 million on this team since he's been here on 11 players as Jose Mourinho. But I don't think he met the strappings of the club. He couldn't command us in that position. I've got no problems with his history. You know, he's achieved fantastically well in his history, Jose Mourinho. But it was course that he's had bad disputes with the board since he's come here. He's had bad disputes with the top players since he's come here, Jose Mourinho. And it just hasn't worked out with Mourinho. He was under contract here till 2020, as we all currently know. But as it did confirm, Gabriel had to say, Souness had to say, basically during the course of the summer, you know, potentially the board wasn't backing Mourinho on some of his signings that he wanted to get into the club. So they withdrew from his signings, but they did give him that contract until 2020 back in January. But it's reportedly said he has been confirmed he's been sacked. I'm shocked about this because his representative, George Mendes, come out with a statement saying he's happy with the club. The club are fully committed to him, and he's happy at Manchester United. This is what George Mendes said, and it said yesterday, you know, they were still buying, maybe give him time to spend money in the January transfer window, but reportedly he has now been sacked as Jose Mourinho, and he has been paid off £22 million for him being sacked, Jose Mourinho. So now reportedly we are going to get a caretaker in. For the time being, we don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be someone out of the club. It has been confirmed. In the next 48 hours, it will be confirmed who is going to be the caretaker manager to take over Manchester United, of course. But I'm glad we've sacked him. You know, we need a manager that needs to come in that understands the club, who has a good style of play about them, understands, you know, the club. As I said, potentially Man United have been seeking for the director of football or a technical, you know, to help us in the January transfer window, you know, because potentially we do need some signings in that team. And the new manager is coming in at the end of the season, you know, whether it be Pochettino, whether it be Jardim, whether it be Laurent Blanc. But a few names has been mentioned, you know, Arsene Wenger has been mentioned as well. But it is great news, you know, potentially, because we know it hasn't been the same since Ferguson retired. As we all currently know, it hasn't been the same since he retired, Alex Ferguson. He had 25 years of great success with United, did well in the transfer markets, lowest he ever finished with us was third. Couldn't get my words out there, sorry. And we had 25 years of great success in. We had great players, as we all know. And since then, it hasn't worked out. Didn't work out under Moyes. Only got 9 months into the job. According to Souness, it didn't work out over, you know, with him. Souness said Man United should have given it more time, but he never had a good pedigree. He managed average teams, but he never won out in terms of silverware. Van Gaal, you know, had a great philosophy at Bayern Munich and that, but it didn't work out with him. We had him for like over a year, didn't we, Van Gaal? And we now, you know, it hasn't worked out under Jose Mourinho. As I said, you know, I did credit him for getting us to the FA Cup final last season, you know, and getting us second last season, getting us, you know, 2 trophies in his first Jose Mourinho. But obviously, in the case, this is a big, massive club historically, and it's just these performances this season have just not been acceptable. You know, 28 points, you know, we're 19 points behind top, 11 behind top 4. Mourinho said quite a few weeks ago we could still get top 4 by the end of the year. This is what Jose Mourinho said. But obviously, he hasn't met the strappings of the club. He couldn't command us in that position, as we all know, and he failed to met the expectation levels of the club, because his objective was to get us back challenging, competing, and try to get silverware back into this club as well, which Jose Mourinho has potentially failed to do miserably. I think Mauricio Pochettino's press conference is due to come up soon. This is the third season now. This is third manager we've sat since Ferguson's retired. The third manager that's been sacked this season in the Premier League, because obviously the two previous managers that had been sacked were Mark Hughes and the Fulham manager as well. I couldn't remember his name. Was it Jonkovic or something like that? So he's the third manager to be sacked this season. Is Jose Mourinho. But I'm surprised, Manchester United put up with this for so long, considering that, people were still backing him, saying, due to his success that he's had, people were still backing him. But his old team selection were on at the club. His tactics were on. He didn't know his best 11 in the team. And I think he was just drawing the heart and the soul and the passion out of the team, was Jose Mourinho, because his decisions were not right. They just wasn't right. His plan A were rubbish. His plan B were rubbish. And he wasn't, the top players such as Pogba he's not been playing Pogba this season hardly from the start, especially in the last recent games. Juan Mata, he hasn't been a regular starter this season. He's been mainly putting Fellaini there, as we all know. And it was a disappointing summer window last summer. It really was. And last year, we had a lot of potential targets that we could have gone for, but we was getting like a second and third choice targets. We wasn't getting as priority targets. And potentially, I think this sacking has stemmed from the course of last summer, when the board didn't back Jose Mourinho, when they withdrew from the signings that he wanted to get into the club, as Gary Neville had currently mentioned. And he was, Shearer was speaking about basically the players aren't playing to the potential level. He said it's either get a clear out or sack Mourinho. This is what Alan Shearer had to say on the situation. But he says big changes need to be made in January. This is what he said. And he said the question is, are the board going to back Mourinho in January? Obviously not now, because he's not here. But, Shearer had said this obviously before the news came out today that Mourinho's been officially sacked. But Gary Neville thinks Pochettino will be the right man. We need a manager who's got great managerial credentials. I think Pochettino, would be ideal. Gary Neville was speaking about he would be the right candidate. He's got trustworthy and young players. He's doing very, very well with Tottenham Hotspur. He's Pochettino, as I said. And in terms of silverware, hasn't won out yet, but he's been managing since 2009, managed Tottenham, Southampton, played in his playing career, for 18 years or so, played with Espanyol. He also played for Bordeaux and Paris Saint-Germain in his playing career as well, did Pochettino. And he played for Newell Old Boys as well, did Pochettino as well, as we all know. But I think Pochettino would be suitable for Manchester United. He's only spent £50 million at Tottenham, since 2014. But I think he could be the favoured now to take over at Manchester United, Pochettino. Zinedine Zidane's been mentioned. He's not in management at the moment. Very, very good player. He won a lot of individual awards at Real Madrid and Juventus. Won a lot of, honours, during his managerial tenure with Real Madrid as well. And he has a lot of trustworthiness players, Zinedine Zidane, when he was there. And I think Zinedine Zidane would be good, considering his pedigree. I think he'd understand the club. Obviously, he's never managed or played in the Premier League, Zinedine Zidane, but I'd love Zinedine Zidane to come in at Manchester United. So he would be one of my, potential managers to come in. Laurent Blanc, has a good relationship with Fergie. Laurent Blanc, highly experienced in France. I don't think he's managing at the moment, so he could be available. Managed Paris Saint-Germain, won honours with them. Bordeaux, France, a couple of years he managed the French national team as well. So he's highly experienced in France, got a lot of good experience, got a good pedigree. Also won honours during his playing career. He played for Manchester United back in 2002-2003, played for Barcelona, played for quite a few teams in his playing career as well, and he's won a lot of individual awards, Laurent Blanc. And, I think he'd understand the club a little bit if he was to come in, because he reportedly has a good relationship with Alex Ferguson. Does Laurent Blanc. So he's been potentially mentioned. Arsene Wenger's been mentioned. He's unlikely, but he's been mentioned on the list in Sky Sports. Arsene Wenger had he had 12 good years with Arsenal. He was at Arsenal 22 years, was Arsene Wenger, and he won quite a lot of silverware with Arsenal. After 12, 13 years, it went a bit downhill. There were problems going on at Arsenal with Arsene Wenger then, especially in his last stages of his career, his managerial career with Arsenal. They wanted him out. They got him out. They put him doing Emery, and he's doing very, very well now with Arsenal. And Arsene Wenger's, he's had great managerial credentials. He's obviously been Monaco manager before Arsenal, and he's proven well in the Premier League. He's Premier League proven as manager in the Premier League because he managed Arsenal for 22 years. So, could he potentially be the next Manchester United manager? I doubt it very, very much, but he's potentially on the list. But Pochettino's been mentioned. I think he's going to be the favourite to come take over Manchester United, as I said. But just the performances haven't been good enough this season. The players are not performing well enough. I don't think the players were playing for Jose Mourinho because his managerial, his style of play at the club wasn't good enough. He's also mentioned about several injury-prone players as well. He's also been discussing about Man United are far from built in his image. He said this as well, did Jose Mourinho. But I'd love to what, people have to react on this situation. Pogba's obviously tweeted out as well. But since Ferguson left, we've seen players come in, we've seen players go. We haven't been aggressive enough in the windows. We haven't been getting as priority targets, especially when we had Jose Mourinho. We wasn't getting as priority targets, that we currently wanted. And he was destroying that team because his team selection was wrong. His tactics were wrong. Reportedly, we're going to get, if he'd still stayed here, reportedly was going to get around £100 million to spend in January on players. Obviously, that can't happen now because he's not here. As we all know, will probably be the next to leave Manchester United as well. But Mourinho, see what happens in this club, and he had the similar problems at Real Madrid. When he's at Real Madrid, he had quite a few disputes, with players at Real Madrid as well. Did Jose Mourinho? So he is known for having disputes with players, criticising players, as he has done so many times. When he was a Manchester United manager, Jose Mourinho, he's known for criticising players. Jose Mourinho, discussing about what he's achieved and what he's won in the past as well. Jose Mourinho, but for me, this video is about the right man. For me, the right man would be. My two would be either Pochettino, proven well in the Premier League, or Zinedine Zidane. But Gary Neville's had to say that we need a reset, we need to reset a structure, and he says we need a manager that can suit the strappings of the club, meet the club's expectations, and take this club forwards and get us back playing the football that we should be, that we played football that was showed under Alex Ferguson. And we know we're never going to get as managers comparable as what Alex Ferguson did. We all know that. But we need a manager to come in, get us back to the position where we should be in, as I said. So potentially, I was reigning fixtures are Cardiff. Well, fixtures coming up are Cardiff, Huddersfield, Cardiff, Huddersfield and Bournemouth, I think, are the next three as well. But we just potentially haven't been good enough this season under Mourinho. You can't just blame Mourinho, blame the players as well. I blame the board and the owners as well. But I'm thankful that Ed Woodward has got rid of Jose Mourinho out of this job, because this is a big, massive club historically. Big, massive club historically. We used to give it 90-100% each game with Alex Ferguson nearly. And we're doing nothing. We did nothing with Jose Mourinho, especially this season. The season's been absolutely atrocious, losing to teams that we shouldn't be losing to, losing at home to Tottenham, losing away to West Ham, losing at the Amex Stadium in the last 2 years. And we're lucky we're in the position we're in, because we could be in a worse position, believe it or not. We actually could be in a worse position, as I said, because we've been lucky in a lot of our games this season, than when we have scraped results. And we've also got a lot of players coming to the end of the deals, as I said. So what we need to think about is who this caretaker manager is going to be for the time being, as I said, and somehow try and the next manager that ever comes in, whoever it will be, rebuild the team, sort the problems out, address the problems at the team, and get Manchester United playing with passion, intensity, and the way they should be playing. We have conceded more goals this season than the whole of last season. We've conceded 29 goals this season, as I said. But what I didn't understand about the board was they didn't back Mourinho during the course of the summer, because he didn't get his signings that he wanted. But they gave him a new contract back in January. Give him a contract until 2020 with the club. And it was actually 3 years ago today he was sacked by Chelsea. Well, it's 18th of December he's been sacked today, but it was 17th of December 2015 he was sacked by Chelsea. And he had problems at Chelsea as well. This is why Chelsea sacked Jose Mourinho, as I said. But, it has been officially confirmed. But as I said, when Mourinho came in, I thought, it hasn't worked out under Moyes. It hasn't worked out under Van Gaal. I thought, this manager's going to get us up there competing. He's going to win a silverware. He's going to get the team playing great football. And he's going to do very, very well considering the history he's had. I think he's going to elevate us to that position. And I thought Mourinho's going to do a better job at United than Pep Guardiola's going to do at City. Klopp's going to do at Liverpool and all that. But I was proven wrong in his first season. You know, it was only his first season. He did get some silverware, so then he did need a bit more time. As I said, second season, got us to the FA Cup final, got us second. We finished 19 points behind Manchester City last season. It was a better season last season, even though we didn't win in silverware, because performances were better, there were players playing better, and we kept more beats. This season has been the worst season since 1990. As I said, but we need a manager who's greatly experienced, knows something about the club, knows how to deal with top players, as I said, such as Moyes didn't. You know, he never knew how to deal with top players, you know, because he was an average manager. But Mourinho hasn't had a great time at Manchester United, let's be honest. Has been little good times when he got us to the FA Cup final and got us them a couple of trophies in his first season and all that. But he's had bad disputes with the players, he's had bad disputes with the board, and he just didn't suit the strappings of the club. And potentially, I think then everyone started to wonder when Manchester United was knocked out of the Champions League, was it last season? You know, when we was locked out by Sevilla in the Champions League, that was the turning point, thinking, you know, is Jose Mourinho the right man for this job? Because United fans were saying in the first season, you know, even though the signings he was getting wasn't his main priority target signings, I still back the manager. When he got Matic, I thought, I had concerns when we signed Matic. He won the title with Chelsea, fair enough. I had concerns about Matic because there was other priority targets we would have got. But I think, obviously, at that time, I was backing Mourinho in his first season, and last year when he got him, I thought the brilliance of Mourinho will improve Matic at this club. Lukaku hasn't been doing it this season. As I said, he's failed to replicate that form that he did in his first season as well. Big game bottler, well proven in the Premier League, but has not done it this season, as I said. So I think he just destroyed the whole team, did Jose Mourinho. And I said, even if they had given a bit more time to strengthen up in January, regardless of who would have got in, I still don't think he'd have succeeded at Manchester United. As I currently said, so that's 3 managers sat now. 3 managers sat in the Premier League this season. Mark Hughes was the one before Jose Mourinho, as I said, but the players are not playing to the potential level. And as you know, as Alan Shearer said, and Gary Neville said, Man United need to get the right manager in, you know, for the next 3 or 4 years, you know, that can get us back up there. You know, Neville says we need to reset the structure. He says we need a manager that can suit the strappings of the club, a manager that's got that winning mentality, a manager that has got that mentality to command this team in the position, you know, that we should be in. And we're sitting 6th, 11 points behind top 4. So it'll be interesting to see who this caretaker is going to be. It's confirmed Michael Carrick is going to be training for the next couple of days as well. You know, Ryan Giggs, I wouldn't recommend him as manager. You know, he's a great player. You know, great legend who made over 600 appearances for the club. He was interim manager, was it 4 years ago, you know, when Moyes had been sacked. But he hasn't really got the managerial experience. He was a great player. You know, some people recommended, should Michael Carrick take interim manager, you know, at Manchester United? Probably not. But it is going to be a caretaker outside of the club that's going to be recommended to take over for the time being until the end of the season. But as I said, yeah, Pochettino would be great for me. As Gary Neville said, he would be great for Manchester United. He's a great candidate. And I think we need to find the right man for Manchester United. I think a lot of United fans are happy about this news, that Jose Mourinho has been officially sacked by the club. I'm very happy about this news because he wasn't the right man for Manchester United and he couldn't take the team forward. And there's just, at the moment in this team, there's no leadership in the team. There's no creativeness. There's nothing in the midfield. You know, we're struggling to create clinical chances, but hopefully the next manager that does come in, he will change all that around, address the problems at the club, get a central defender in, get a striker in, get rid of players that he doesn't want, who he doesn't feel as though may be good enough for Manchester United, as we all know. But when the team is not playing to the potential level, then you can potentially tell, basically, guys, that when they're not playing to the potential level, guys, that does come down to the management, I'm afraid. And I just had no confidence we was going to ever turn around under Jose Mourinho. But as I said, 25 years of great success with Alex Ferguson, but he was in the similar position. You know, he was on the verge of getting sacked at one point. You know, he didn't win out for 4 years, Alex Ferguson, of course. And he was on the verge of getting sacked, but, you know, I'm glad we didn't sack him because we wouldn't have achieved the success, you know, that we achieved with Alex Ferguson for 25 years. So he was once on the verge of getting sacked, you know, after 4 seasons because he didn't win out after 4 seasons. So potentially now these days, if you know, with how strict the board is now, with how strict, you know, teams are with sacking managers, basically. If that had been Fergie in this day and age of 4 years without winning out, I think they would have got rid of him probably before 4 years. But obviously the board wasn't as strict back then as it is now. But I'm surprised the board have put up with this nonsense from Jose Mourinho. I'm really, really surprised. But Ferguson was just great. He dominated the transfer markets. He got the players that he wanted to get in. He let them grow and develop and perform fantastically well for Manchester United, such as Wayne Rooney was fantastic. He grew and developed and came to a great player for Man United. Ronaldo, he was the same. Grew and developed and became one of the best players in the world. Ferguson had a great side. You got Paul Scholes, who was fantastic. Mike Carrick, Roy Keane. And, Gary Neville's had a lot to say on the situation of this. He said Man United need a reset structure, and he says the manager has to meet the key principles at the current club. And we need someone who's had experience. We need someone who knows the club, who knows something about the club. We need a manager, that has, deals with top players and stuff like that. So it's big breaking news. It is going to be on all day about this, that Manchester United have officially sacked him. As I said, 144 games he had for Manchester United. I think he won 84 of them. Did Jose Mourinho as well. But yeah, it has been officially confirmed. I'm going to be looking at some transfer rumours soon, and we'll be updating you on that channel, guys, as I said. So yeah, it has been confirmed. Mourinho has been paid 22 million, I think, for the sacking. Ed Woodward's confirmed it, as I said. So that has been confirmed, guys. As I said, there's nothing much more to say on the story. The players weren't playing for him. His style of play wasn't good enough at the club. His managerial style wasn't good enough at the club. And he had disputes with a lot of players in the dressing room. He was slating Paul Pogba down. He hasn't had, he's had disputes with the board and stuff like that as Mourinho. And, potentially, it was only a couple of weeks ago that I'd been in discussions with Ed Woodward and George Mendes of who to potentially get into the club in the January transfer window, as I said. But this is a big club historically, as I said. We need someone like, a manager comparable to Guardiola of the money he spent at City. He's got great players and he's doing very well with City. We need someone like a Jurgen Klopp who's invested in the last couple of seasons, at Liverpool. We need a manager like that. Klopp knows what he's doing. Great manager. As I said, at Liverpool. So, yeah, I'd be happy to take Zinedine Zidane. I'd be happy to take Pochettino, even Jardim. He's been mentioned. Arsene Wenger's been mentioned. There has been a few potential managers' names that have been mentioned who could potentially replace Mourinho at the club as well. But it's been confirmed. He got told at the training complex this morning his job is over at Manchester United. Pogba's put a tweet out about it as well, as I said. So, nothing much more to really update you on. As I said, we'll be updating you on some more news soon. I'm going to go downstairs and watch Sky Sports. As I said, so take care. Drop a like on the video. If you do, consider subscribe to my channel, as always, which is Charlie Davenport. And take care. God bless, guys, and I'll see you all again very soon.